Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So my name is Shauna. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a self-love and self-acceptance life coach living in Ireland. Some of the techniques that I use are emotional freedom technique and neuro-linguistic programming, some energy healing, and I also dabble in a little bit of tarot card reading as well. But we're not going to be talking about all that today. There's going to be later videos in that. So what I am going to be talking to you guys about today is forgiveness. And more importantly, I'm going to give you some tools on how to start your healing process in forgiving. And also going to talk about the two types of forgivenesses that I think that we operate in. But first of all, we need to get into the nitty-gritty stuff. What is forgiveness? So psychologists generally define forgiveness as a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance toward a group or a person who have harmed you, regardless of whether or not they actually deserve your forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean condoning or excusing one's behavior or offenses. Okay, so let's dissect that a little bit. So, in smaller words, to me, that actually means that forgiving is all about you letting go of the negative feelings attached to either that situation or that person or that behavior that you no longer require. So you let it go. So you're not holding on to that toxic, negative emotion. Because who likes negative emotions? Absolutely nobody. Okay? So to me, that's it. It's like giving yourself permission to let go of the negative energy. Okay? So in terms of actually forgiving somebody, what does that mean? So it means exactly what the very last sentence says. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean condoning or excusing offenses. Okay, so just because you forgive somebody, it doesn't mean that you are condoning or saying that what they did is okay. You're just letting yourself let go of the negative energy. Okay? That's the main point I want to stress here. Forgiving someone allows you to let go of negative energy and negative emotions. Okay? But we'll talk about the two types of forgiveness that I believe that we act upon. So the first simple one that we have is the forgive and forget concept. I know a lot of people work by that and live by that, which is fine. You do you. But to me, the forgive and forget, it's only for tiny, tiny little things. You know, like a colleague getting annoyed or a colleague's annoying you in work because they're not finishing tasks. You know, so you forgive and you forget. Unless they keep doing it, and then it's a bigger issue, but we're not going to talk about that. Another thing could be that someone in your household is annoying you because they're not taking the wet clothes out of the washing machine and they start to go smelly. You know, that could happen once or twice, but you forgive and you forget. You know, because they're only tiny little annoyances that aren't really a big thing. Now, obviously, if it's a continuing issue with a certain person, then it's obviously a big thing, but we're going to dive into that in a minute. And then we've got the second type of forgiveness, which is the main one that I want to pinpoint and I want to focus on today. So this type of forgiveness is the one that helps you set your boundaries, that makes you find your deal breakers, that helps you figure out what you like and what you don't like in a person, and basically who you want to be around you. So an example of this could be let's just say a past relationship. It can be intimate, it can be a friendship, it can be anything you think of. And just think about how it ended. Like must have been a really, really bad, like for me it was a really, really bad memory is it's not really a bad memory anymore because I've forgiven the person for it, but how a relationship ended. You know, it can be something like that. And I'm not going to dive into it because we're not talking about my issues here. This is just general stuff. But you can turn around. You take that particular experience of how that relationship ended. You forgive that person for whatever they said, whatever they did, whatever they didn't do. And then you let that go. But you store that experience and you make it a deal breaker. You make it a boundary. So you turn around to the next relationship and you're like, this happened before, I'm not going to allow it happen again. So, for example, in a romantic relationship, if things are breaking down, talk to me about it. Let's try and work on it. And if we can't work on it, then we go our separate ways. You know, that's just one example. But it doesn't necessarily always have to be your intimate relationship, your romantic relationships. It can also be in your friendships. You know, you're hanging out with a group of friends and they act or say something. They act in a particular way towards a certain person, or they say something towards a person that you don't agree with. And they do it, and you let them know that that it's not okay to do it in your presence, that it doesn't stand with your morals, and this type of behavior keeps happening. You then just say, no, I'm done. Sorry, goodbye. And you walk away. And it's okay to walk away. You know, don't hate yourself for sticking around. And don't hate yourself for walking away. Because the main thing is that you need to set your standards and what you're going to tolerate as behavior. And what treatment that you're going to tolerate for yourself. Because if you don't do it, people are just going to walk all over you. So that's why forgiveness is such a deep thing, because the only way that you learn how to set those standards and set those boundaries and have those deal breakers is by not having them previous to an experience that you need to forgive somebody for. And the only way you're going to move on from that is by letting go of the negative energy. And how do you let go of the negative energy? You forgive the situation, you forgive the person. You know? But that's kind of my 2 cents worth on that. And what I want to actually give you, my followers today, is a couple of tools that will help you start your process of unforgiving. So what I need you to do now is I need you to go and grab a pen and paper. So pop me on pause, go grab a pen and 2 sheets of paper. Okay? Good, you're back? Perfect. So, on 1 sheet of paper, I want you to write, I forgive blank for blank. Okay? And on the second sheet of paper, I want you to write, I forgive myself for blank. Okay? Now, we're going to talk about them now in just a second, okay? So, on the first sheet where you've written, I forgive blank for blank, all I want you to do is just fill in the blanks. Okay? So, if you need a bit of a hand, here's an example. I forgive my dog for waking me up at 5 a.m. because he needed to go to the toilet. And that annoyed me. Why did that annoy me? Because I had to get up at 5 a.m. Okay, so use that as a little example. So I forgive X for Y because they, whatever emotion they made you feel. Okay? And all you're going to have to do is just keep writing that sentence and keep following that format until you run out of things to write about. Okay, now some people's list is going to be very long and some people's is going to be very, very small. So what I'm trying to get you to do here is to let go of the grudges, okay? Let go of the toxic negative energy that's building up inside you, because it's not good for you. It's not. Okay, and you need to get rid of it and you need to let go of it. Okay? So once you've done with that one, I want you to set it aside. And if you don't want to do the I forgive blank for blank, you can write a letter to whoever you want to forgive or whoever you need to forgive. Okay? It doesn't need to be a list. It can be a letter. And you don't need to send the letter out. It's just for you. You can stick it away in your journal. Okay? Now, this one's going to be a bit tough. This one's going to be very, very hard for a few people. And other people are going to find it easy, and that's okay. There's no correct way for this. The second page. Yeah, I know a lot of people are looking like, what do I need to forgive myself for? You'd be surprised. So what you want to do is just write, like what you've written on the page is I forgive myself for, and just list the things you need to forgive yourself for. And it can be very, very simple. Like I'm doing this challenge now where the month of January 2021, I'm trying to change my sleep pattern by working up to getting up at 5 a.m. every day. Now I've only managed to do that once. It's only week 1, so it's not too bad, but I'm doing it in slow ways. Like I'm only doing like 2 times a week and then it'll go up. But the first day I missed it because I didn't go to bed early enough. So that day, for example, it'd be like, I forgive myself for not reaching my goal. I forgive myself for sleeping in. Because I really did annoy myself. And even today, I didn't get out of bed until like, 10 a.m? And I woke up and I was like, oh, I started kicking myself for it. And then I was just like, no, hang on. I needed sleep. So it's fine. Because the mornings where I go, or the nights where I go to bed early enough, I can get up early enough without any complaining. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes you need to give a little bit extra to yourself, and that's fine. But it can be simple little things like that, or it can be deeper things. Like, I need to forgive myself for how I acted in this situation, because looking back on it, it's not okay. And then you need to go and apologize to that person. You know, it can be big things or little things. And again, if you don't want to do it in list format, that's fine. You can write yourself a letter. So once you've done with that, also I want you to set it aside. Okay? So now that you're done with the 2 letters, or the 2 bullet points, whichever way you want to do it, I want you to pick up the one where you're talking about somebody else. So I forgive blank for blank. Okay? And I want you to read that out loud to yourself twice. Okay? Read it out loud to yourself twice. Okay? Now that's going to hurt for a lot of people, and the emotions are going to be real, and they might be big, they might be small. Some of you might have a few tears, and that is okay. It's part of the healing process. Don't be afraid to get vulnerable, because if you do end up crying, it's fine. It's the emotional release that you need to start your healing process. All right? And once you've read that one out loud to yourself twice, you can either put it in your journal, you can burn it, you can rip it up, you can save it for a later date. Do whatever you want. If it's a letter, if you feel compelled, post it. If you don't feel compelled, don't. And then the second thing, with the one that you've written to yourself, the same thing. Read it out to yourself twice. Okay? And again, it might sting, it might hurt, you might cry. That is all fine. It's part of the healing process. Okay? Happened to me. Cried like a baby. Not gonna lie. And I'm not ashamed. Because I needed it. And it helped so much. You have no idea. Okay? That's the main thing. Don't be afraid of the tears. Alright? And once you've done that to yourself twice, again, you can either burn it, bin it, keep it in your journal, do whatever you want with it. Okay? And the very, very last thing I want you to do is stand up. Yep, take me with you if you can. Head on over to a mirror, whether that's in your hallway or your bathroom or wherever. Head over to a mirror. Look yourself dead in the eye. I mean it. Come on. Dead in the eye. And say, I forgive you and I love you. I know some of you are looking at me like I've got 10 heads, but trust me. Say it. Look yourself dead in the eye. Big deep breath in. Deep breath out. I love you and I forgive you. Say it to yourself, because I love you and I forgive you. Okay? Well done. Now, if you need some extra help, or if you're not quite there yet, that's fine. Pop over to my Facebook and drop me a message. because I'll be able to help you through it, okay? And if there's some things that you need a little bit more guidance or you need someone to help you dig a little deeper, that's what I'm here for, okay? Starts with you. You need to start your journey. And I'm here to help. Okay? Have a good day. Remember, I forgive you and I love you.